Hey everyone, my name is Jesper. I'm the founder here at Demand. Thank you for taking your time to learn more about how you can master LinkedIn Sales Navigator today. So you might want to think about Sales Navigator to be a necessity if you are doing any type of outbound sales today, because we are in a paradigm shift when it comes to sales. We are in multi-channel today. So LinkedIn plus email equal outcome. So think about that. Your potential buyer might be spending time on LinkedIn, might be spending time on email, or both platforms. But if you don't reach them where they are, you're not going to be able to sell to them. So what I hope you're going to take back from today's session here is, how will I master LinkedIn Sales Navigator? How can I apply it from business? But also learn about what situation is your business in today, so you can start create real one-to-one relationships online. So firstly, you might want to think about, where are you today? Are you like the Wright brothers? You're building an airplane. In other words, product market fit, right? You're figuring out, will the wing stick? Will it take flight? Or will it crash down the canyon? And there's many famous saying, building a startup or actually a sales team as well, if you don't know your ICP, ideal customer profile, or personas within them. You might as well be the Wright brothers, so you need to go out and test. And testing you can do using Sales Navigator and platforms like Demand. Or are you Lufthansa? Lufthansa is one of the best airlines in the world. Here's an example of the A380, which is a phenomenal plane, one of my favorites to fly on because it's very, very stable, but it's also very big when people get in and out. But the point is, if you're Lufthansa, you have a situation where you know your route network, you know your customers, you have a couple of segments. You have economy, which is basically on what is the lowest cost, getting me from A to B the fastest. Then your business travelers, who are, well, they care about comfort, they care about flexibility, they care about service, they care about getting from A to B without waiting. And that's the two main segments. So when Lufthansa go out and planning routes, you can think about it as your business as well. You might have enterprise, mid-market, you might have mid-market and startups clients that have different needs. How do you communicate to them? What strategy are you using for both? So you need to plan your situation around them. So that's very, very important. The next step is, if you are Lufthansa, your strategy is going to be different than the Wright brothers. So you need to put yourself into the right bucket and start your process. Now, why should you trust me? Well, I'm CEO and founder here at Demand. We do millions in annual recurring revenue. We are 100% bootstrapped. We have over 8,000 paying clients in 81 plus countries. I've been doing this almost my entire professional career, built relationship using technology. I exited 2 companies. I've joined accelerators in San Francisco, also bought them out to remain bootstrapped. And I love growth and the sales process, building relationship. That's one thing I'm very, very passionate about and I love to share with you. So if you take this graph, what is growth to market, right? What is go to market in essence? Well, if you look at growth and transformation, you typically can be down the ideation phase. You're trying to get the wings on the plane. Your problem or product market fit, right? Then you get in from the problem stage to the product market fit stage. That's like you have an idea about your product, you get into the transition state, and then you become Lufthansa. So you have to go these stages. That's also why, if you look at software, why venture capital firms, they have different types of funding. They have pre-seed, they have seed, angel. Before that, then you go Series A, Series B, Series C, probably exit or IPO at that point. Can go even further, can be debt equity, many types of instruments. But the reason why a company that are just in the transition stage cannot raise a Series A or about to is, well, they have to define the product market fit. They have to get the plane flying. They have to have the hub of airports built. They have to have the setup in order to deploy the capital. So when you put in $1, you have output. You have output A to output B, right? Or X, Y, as we go into mathematics. And once you're in the execution stage, you pretty much know when you put a $10 million in, you're going to have valuation X after 2 years. And that's what you are simply investing in as an investor. But at the ideation and earliest part of transition phase, that's just too unpredictable. So that's why we have stages. The same comes to go-to-market. So think about that when you go back to the drawing board, testing your hypothesis. So let's go further. So you might think, what's preventing you from scaling today? Well, you might try to scale but haven't found the ideal customer for your product. That's okay. You will find it if you do the right testing. You might do heavy discounting. And on renewal, well, you're not really doing well and you're just getting commoditized, meaning it's all about the money in the end of the day, so you're not doing a superior value to your clients. Your brand positioning is weak. That's preventing you from scaling. You don't know why customers are churning, why they're canceling on you. You have no common enemies, so enemies are good, in a good sense. So if you look at Drift, they set forms of the enemy, so they build the whole branding around they're killing forms. If we take demand, well, we look at the whole spectrum. Why do we only have to rely on inbound marketing? So inbound marketing is okay, but it's also our enemy because we are actually tracking who is coming and doesn't convert, helping one-click sales to automatically reach out to them and making it more efficient. And the fact is only 10% of your customers will potentially ever see your ad or communication. So if you're not doing outbound, well, you're missing out 9% of your market. If you're fine with that, well, that's okay. So if you look at the next steps here, customers are unsure of what return of investment they're getting. Well, you need to communicate that. You sell something you don't deliver, you need to fix that. You have a lack of repeatability in your sales team. They're doing whatever they want, so you don't have a defined process. Well, you need to solve that before you can scale. So some things to take back. Any of these following sentences can actually stop you from scaling. You're continuous to focus on a single product because you have a weak vision. So try to think broader. You're underinvested in the distribution required for future revenue growth. You have only one way to hit your number, and there's a lack of predictability. If the charisma of the founder and his network, personal network, is the only way that you are selling today, and that cannot be repeated down to a sales organization, then we have a problem. We need to solve that. Your second or third products are really just features of the first, which is a sign of a weak product strategy. There's no combination between them. You can upsell, you can cross-sell services. You need to look at how can you bundle it better. Your second and third products aren't taking flight, meaning they're not really getting in the market, nobody pays for them. So you have to figure out, is that because the salespeople have a bad incentive structure, or you're not enabling, or you have an ideation phase, you didn't get to the transformation phase yet. You're trying to compete on multiple fronts while dominating none. So pick your niche. Find a niche that you can dominate. Everyone is working, but nobody is winning. Clear lack of executive alignment. That's another reason. Teams don't understand the role in executing the strategy, and they're ill-equipped to say or do anything. So you need to enable your team. So think about how you can solve some of these things internally. And then we get to Sales Navigator. So one of the things, and we're going to get a full-blown demo on Sales Navigator in a second, I just want to point out a few things that you can take away and learn from today. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator alerts, they are actually extremely useful. As you see right here, you can get it both on accounts and leads. So they give you alerts like, now this is just an example, Meta the post at Happy International Women's Day. Now, not the best example in the world, but if you had one of your potential accounts that you're reaching out to, posting something that they just did, you can use that in your outreach, reaching out to potential people in that company, congratulating them in that achievement. Now you're creating a one-to-one personal relationship with them, and that's what sales is about. So a little bit of research equal great outcome. So alerts in Sales Navigator is a good way to pick those up. You can set up in settings your preferences, so you can get activities, emails, and alerts within Sales Navigator on the following features. When somebody changes the company, when you save them as a lead, and I'm going to show you how to do that. A lead had engaged with a post from your company. That's good to know if they liked something we posted, so we can engage with them socially. A lead checked out your profile. A lead has started a new position within a company, and so on and so forth. You will find in your lead list. Make sure you turn them on. You can also say if a lead accepts your connection request. We don't use that because we get that alert from demand in Slack, so we don't have any need internally using demand for that. Now, company news, again, it's really, really important. If you look at Denodo, they have accelerated growth. They've been increasing hiring over the last 3 months. Headcount has grown year over year. This tells me right away that Denodo is a company investing, having product market fit, they're growing non-stop. So I can reach out if they fit my ICP and start researching the personas. It's super important. So LinkedIn give you these company news, they give you growth insights and everything you need to know. Again, another feature that most people don't see. Company insights. This is one of my favorite. So what is a company insight? Well, notion here, we sell to sales marketers, right? So we can see him speaks that they've been growing 18% in the sales team over the last 1 year. Had they been declining, probably they wouldn't invest in new solution. So for us, that is another indicator when I look at the account, because in the end of the day, you're landing accounts and creating relations with the people within them. So you need to identify the right accounts. And a quick snapshot in Sales Navigator tells you that they should have budget because they're investing in the team you're targeting. So let's get to it. So right here, I'm going to open Sales Navigator and show you around. So this is the exciting part, right? So you will see my account right here. I have different companies that I'm working with, customers and potential customers. You see right here some financial institution, a big Indian conglomerate, Tata is an amazing company, and so on and so forth. So you will be able to see right here, for example, Dario at UBS Investment Banking. Well, he checked out my profile and he's in my target account list. So of course, this is something that is important to know. Now I already reached Dario and have a conversation with him after he replied to my personal outreach, which is the outcome I was looking for. So obviously UBS is one of the targeted accounts I'm working on today, and I'm going to show you some of my processes as a part of this demo. So right here, you get the full overview, all my alerts. I can also filter it by accounts, so I know what's happening at the company side. I can also go by the lead side. And then you can use different filters, career changes, lead engagement, lead news, lead shares, if they share something, or suggested leads. This always gives you insight into something to reach out to them. So for example, as a Brighton Pride CIC, one family, yes, love this. I could actually, if I'm connected, I could hit message. I'm going to say, okay, I view it. I message Catherine. I love your post from one family. Thank you so much for sharing. Now that we are connected, or you could use it as a connection request. Because now I'm starting engaging with her. I can also go to her profile and comment on in public to be one of the few people that actually are commenting on it. So if we view this alert right here, I can make a comment, love it, enter. And now I'm engaging with her socially if it's something relevant to me. And then I can keep going through the leads that I have saved. So these are some of the really, really good things that you can do. You also bookmark alerts, so you can bookmark them so you can find them later. And you can say latest to relevance. And then the alert settings, as I showed you, the setting right here. So you can decide what you want to get alerts on. Very simple. Okay. So my priority accounts, these are what you have set up as your priority. You can bookmark them or star them, then they show here. And priority accounts are take action accounts you recently saved or start at highest priority. So I can look at Databricks. I can see decision makers directly in LinkedIn. So it will search Director, VP, CXO in Databricks. And obviously, then you can go in and look at, for example, other filters. Sometimes you don't see them here, so you click the little arrow. And then I can say, I want them in functional sales. I want them in functional business development. I want them in functional marketing. And now I'm narrowing down from the 600 to 339 people that I care about. Now another thing is, if I just open this in the new window, often I know decision makers tend to sit in the headquarters. So if I just go back to Databricks, and I should have done this in the start if I do it correctly, they're out of San Francisco. So often the person that I want within that company that make the decision should be in San Francisco. So often we like to add that location of the headquarter. And now we're down to Senior Vice President of Sales. I viewed his profile just a second ago, so you also see who you have been seeing. And again, these are some of the filters that LinkedIn do offer. So I can go in and say Spotlight. I can see there's a function where you can say companies you haven't viewed, profile you haven't viewed, for example. Maybe they removed that. I've shared experience with you, but you should have the option to say, okay, who haven't you viewed in the past? And then you can remove them as well. Now, some things that I like when I reach out socially is to say who posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days, because now I can mention that post. I can be very, very personal when I reach out. So that's another aspect I like to do. So if I were to reach out to any of these individuals at Databricks, I will go to Sales Hub and I will actually look at a campaign. So let's take Credit Suisse. I build a campaign here. It has a step called manual prospect. That means I'm doing personalization, which is amazing. So I can go in and say, I made a template for actually the connection request, and I go through the whole flow here. Now, if I were to add them into this campaign, all I had to do is either click right here. I just reload here so I get all of them. Select the automation, Credit Suisse. And then I can say I want to add this person, this person, this person, for example. Then they get rolled into the engine. And once they're rolled in, I will be able to go in and say, okay, Credit Suisse. I'm going to see the LinkedIn connection request right here. And if I quickly take a look at Patrick, if he had shared something on LinkedIn, I don't think this guy have. Bankers don't share very much, but if you have shared it, I got a chance to say, hey, Patrick, thanks for sharing the article about XYZ, super insightful. Hope you don't mind. I am connecting you today. Save, send to prospect. That's how simple it is. So now you get a personalized experience. Okay. So that's how simple it is really once to go into the personalization engine. You can double check them. You can go in and talk about what they care about. And that's another way to do it. So if you go back here, let's start about some basic lead filters. So you can sort by company headcount. Again, has to do with the ICP. Current or past company, that's important because you want people that are in the current company. But if you look at somebody who is right now at, let's say, Salesforce, but worked for Microsoft in the past, because that's something important for your sales process, well, that could be something you can do as well. So let's see. Obviously, there will be people, so 2,500 people globally that currently work at sales and worked in Microsoft in the past. So if that's something you want to use a part of your outreach, well, you can do that. You can also go in and say company type, if they're privately held, and so on and so forth. Only if you're really selling to government and public traded companies, that's important. Company's headquarters, you can go in and say where they headquartered the company once you're searching for people. You can add the function like sales, marketing, and so on and so forth. Job title, if you have particular job titles like CIO, you can type them in. It will tell you here you can exclude them from a search. So you can say, I don't want CIOs in my search. Seniority level, you can say, I want VPs, directors, partners, but I don't want to see managers, as an example. You can also say, I want people that have been 3 to 5 years or more. So you add these filters. You don't want somebody who have been there for a short time, or the other way around, only 1 year. Just to narrow down your search even more. You can also say in current position, so less than a year, but have been a long time in the company. These are people that within the last year has been changing positions within Salesforce. So now we're finding people who has been getting a new role. Again, if we go spotlights, we can go in and say who changed job in the last 90 days. It's a good indicator. If it's a new director of sales, VP of sales, they want to make change. So that's a very good filter. mentioned in the news, that's typically founders or CEOs that points out here. Post on LinkedIn last 30 days, have shared experience with you. Are following your company. If you have a lot of followers, that might be interesting to use as well and use as a part of your outreach. You can also search keywords in articles that they posted. So if anybody have written about sales, none of them have done here, you can do that. So that's another way to do it, to say, okay, who's writing globally about sales? And then you can change your filters a little bit, and then you get a list of leads that are socially engaging around a subject that you care about. Another strong use case. On a personal level, well, we can see, are they connected or not? You can add that. Are they a member of a group? As an example with you. What geography, industry, years of experience. Those are some of the things that I truly care about. And I will share some of my favorite filters when it comes to the company search after, because there are a few things that I truly care about when we are reaching out. So years of experience, obviously you want somebody who has longer if they're making decisions, or somebody who's early in their career. You can also say who's connected to any of your connections if you want to search that, who's a member of a group that you're in. First name, last name, if the profile language is in English, or for example, if I'm sitting in Switzerland right now and I'm reaching out on the Swiss market and the profile is in German, that means I need to communicate in German. But if I take the profile is in English, I know they will be responsive to my English outreach. So that's another way to change when you're in different part of the world. Let's say you sell in Spain, you don't speak Spanish. You want to turn on profile language to English when you're reaching out. If you have team link, you can say who is a member of one of your co-workers, what school they went to. But you also have workflows. So have they been added to a lead list? Like I have a lead list called Credit Suisse. I can search based on my lead list here and add filters. If you have team link and your CRM is integrated, well, you can see who is already in my CRM. Search account list, so that's like lead list. You can save people to a list. People you're interacted with. So this is the one I looked for earlier. Remove profiles that I have viewed. So let's take that away. I'll remove profiles that I contacted. So now this went from 18 to 17 because I viewed one of them. I can also say I don't want saved leads or saved accounts within this one. So let's say we're searching for leads. So I'm opening up Credit Suisse again. I only want net new leads. So I'm going to turn on remove all the saved leads in my search. That's really how you can use the people filters. Now, account filters, it's very, very powerful as well. So for example, I care about if the company headcount is good, but I care about the headcount growth. For example, there were 5 to 10% growth, that's good. Headquarter location, that's important compared to where you're selling. Industry, number of followers. Number of followers, it's not something I find so important in my line of business, but if you're a marketing agency, maybe you want to find companies with a low follower growth to help them grow it. You might want to find somebody with a lot as a part of your value proposition, depends on your circumstances. Department headcount, so for example, I want companies with a minimum of 5 people in sales. So if you ask me 2 years ago, I would say maximum 100, but we just onboarded 1,000 clients for 1,000 users for one of our clients. So we know that we can take at least 5,000 users on our platform today. So as an example, I want minimum 5 and let's say up to 5,000 people in the sales team. And maybe I also want the sales team to grow minimum 10% and no max. So let's see what companies have a minimum 5 salespeople have been growing at least 10% in sales. Well, they're over 220,000. Are the Fortune 500 company? You can turn that on. The technology used are not as powerful as Tech Tracker, so I always upload the data from Tech Tracker in a Google Sheet. I set in and then I put in company names. So that's my preferred way to do it. You can use very basic one here. Are the company hiring on LinkedIn right now? Have they changed senior leadership in the last 3 months? That might be an indicator you want to use. And that's another aspect. So these are the main filters. So I want to show you a couple of things here. So let's make something relevant. So let's go insurance. Let's go Switzerland. So I'm looking for insurance companies in Switzerland with a minimum 5 salespeople growing 10% over the last year. So I'm just going to create a list here. Insurance, high growth in sales, CH for Switzerland. So I created, saved them. So right now I saved 25 people. So I have 2 options from here. I can go to the next page and save the rest. So I'm just going to do that. So I saved to the same list, insurance, high growth, Switzerland. Now I selected all 30. I only selected 13 here because you can only select what's on the page. So if I want all 38 companies to search employees, I couldn't just click view current employees. I will have to go back to leads, clear all filters, go in account list, and then say insurance, high growth, sales in Switzerland. So right here I get 8,500 people, and then I can start working around function, sales, marketing, and so on and so forth. And then I narrow them down. And then I can do 2 things. I can either with the plugin from Sales Hub, the URL, I can start an automation and reach out to them by email and LinkedIn, which is the best way to do it. I can use icebreakers or personalization to reach out and talk to what they care about. I can also save them to a list like I did with accounts. And you see I do a different list here. And I just simply hit and then I save them. And then I save them for monitoring, get alerts and keep track. And I can also export them to Sales Hub afterwards. So those are the most important parts. Now messaging. See, you have different things here. So you have a mailbox when you send from Sales Navigator. Your mailbox will have communication between Sales Navigator for you. If you send it from there, you get the replies there. You don't see them in your regular LinkedIn account. It's important to know so you don't miss messages. However, the person receiving the message will receive it in the regular LinkedIn account. Another aspect is you can save your searches. So if I go in here, I'm just going to say Dell computers. Let's say I want to save this one. So I save it and call it Dell. So let's go back. So I can find my saved searches right here. And it's going to tell me when there are new people within my search. So I always find net new. And I can edit it, delete it, or I can send it for somebody if they're within my Sales Navigator contract. So if I have a coworker, I can add them and they can see the search. Very simple. And then I can always reopen them, reapply the filters, and then I can save it again. So it's again really, really, really simple. So we walked over account and lead list. Again, it's a very simple step. You can rename them. You can see who's inside. Last updated, 196 saved leads in total. Messaging, account list walked over. So we covered all the important aspects of Sales Navigator today. You've seen the alert settings. You know how to navigate prospect companies within the companies, find the employees through list. How to export one click to Sales Hub. Do personalization, we showed them very quickly. This is not a Sales Hub, demand demo. This whole demo is about how you master LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We try to make it brief and short as possible. So thank you. Actually, one thing before we end it, I want to give some food for thoughts. So I ran into a sales coach not a long time ago. And he said to me, leave deposit rather than withdrawals. And you might think why I'm telling you that. But when you reach out to an account, you might start out by not selling to them. You might want to start out building a relationship. I'm a firm believer in that. There are many ways you can do that. Reach out, talk about what they care about. They can be, hey, thank you for sharing that article, or congrats on your growth, or I read the blog post and your company's post, really love it. Congrats on landing this customer. I'm just connecting, see if I can be helpful in any way to you. See, when you use the word being helpful in any way, you're not selling, you're trying to help out, and then you deposit something in the bank. It can also be you have a targeted account list, you know a decision maker in a company could be perfect fit for them. So instead of reaching out selling, you go to that person or founder or decision maker, whoever runs sales. You reach out and say, hey, I know a company XYZ. I would love to introduce you to person XYZ to help you get in front of them. Do you mind connect? See, now you're depositing one in the bank, and later they will obviously return the favor, and you're building a connection, a trust. And now you have a human relationship. Even if that person moved to another job, he will forever be grateful and remember Jesper is a good guy. He's helping me. He's giving me something back. So I'm going to support Jesper with my business always. And that's very important to do. And that's a lot of our customers are reacting that way with them. So offer an introduction, you will always get back tenfold. Be nice to your customer or potential customer. Try to understand if you're in their shoes, what will make them respond to it. Don't make it about yourself. That's the first mistake everybody does. Make it about them, always about them. So put yourself in their shoes, try to understand them, make it very easy, your process, and I guarantee you're going to scale as long as you fix the fundamentals we mentioned earlier in this process. So what I want you to do is to go take action today. Go build relationships. It's time to sell. You can start your free account on usedemand.com, and then we can take it from there. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. And if there's any questions, our team is on.